Hey, what's up guys, this is Prabpreet, and today I'm going to be going over something that I really like. This lens is one of my favorite lenses in my kit. I've actually used this lens for almost 2.5, almost 3 years now. I think it came out in April or March 2018. There's so much to like about this lens that I want to go over in this video. I know some of you guys had questions about what lenses I use. I kind of went over Sigma 24-70 that I'm shooting this video on right now. I've basically shot multiple different videos on this lens. I've used it for video, for photos, for almost everything, and there is so much to like about this lens. So the first thing I want to go over is the hardware of this guy. So we have a 67 millimeters of a lens cap or a filter size, whatever you want to call it. 67 millimeters, pretty basic. I do have that on my 20 millimeter Sony 1.8 lens, and then I also have the same for 24-70 Sony f4 lens as well. So a lot of the lenses that are going to be using 67 millimeters, that's the first thing to like about this lens. Second of all, the switch that we have on the outside. We basically have this one switch that goes from manual focus to autofocus, which is really useful at times because you can go from one to another setting, and if your focus isn't really working, or if it's too close, or if something is just not working properly, you have the manual focus button right there. And for the older cameras, I really like this. Or on an R2, this was a game changer. And then we basically have a focus dial. It basically tells you how far you're focusing. I never actually used this thing, just being honest here. But as more and more cameras have progressed over the years, we've kind of lost the use of this. We don't actually need to use it, but if you are someone who's using an older camera, really nice thing here. And then third thing that I really like about this lens is the price. Price is very nice. I believe it comes at about 700 now. When I purchased it, it was like a 900. It comes at around 700, and then it goes, I guess you can buy it cheaper if you buy it used or something. So do look into it. It's one of the cheapest prime lenses that you can buy, and it's one of my favorite. So the size form factor is not too great. I mean, it could have been smaller. I've seen it smaller. It basically, for Sony E, they basically add this extra adapter on the bottom, which I really don't prefer. So if you have a Canon, or if you have a Nikon or something like that, they basically, their lens size would just be this big. It wouldn't include this little filter on the bottom, or whatever, the converter on the bottom. So that really, increases some weight to it. But overall, it's not one of my lightest lenses, but it's not one of my heaviest lenses as well. So compared to 85 millimeter from Sigma, or the Sigma 24-70, I think this is slightly or a bit less heavier than those two options or anything else, but it just sits kind of in the middle. It's not that heavy either, but it's definitely got some weight to it. So if you're looking for something that's lighter or lightweight, 35 millimeter, I believe 2.8 is really nice. So you should check that out with Sony. But the price range is almost the same as this, so that's the difference there. You're getting a 1.4 lens and then 2.8 lens for almost the same price. Just the only drawback would be this is slightly heavier. So there's another thing to like about 35 millimeters. Now this is not specific to this lens, but 35 millimeters just come right in the middle. So you have 50 millimeters, which is kind of telephoto. Even iPhones or Apple calls it telephoto, right? 55 millimeters, that's telephoto for them. But you have 85, 70, 200. Those are more like telephoto lenses. Or you can have basically 24 millimeters to 30 millimeters, or 18, 16 millimeters. All those things would be considered wide. So basically this kind of sits right in the middle of 24 and 50. This is like 35 millimeters, right in the middle. You have a 1.4 lens. So basically this prime guy would basically give me really solid portraits with this, and then it would also give me really solid wider shots as well. So you can use this for landscapes, portraits. It kind of works everywhere. When we go wider and we take portraits, there's going to be some sort of distortion, which is not preferred by most photographers and videographers. So if you're into portraits and stuff, if you go wider, it's not going to work. So 24 millimeter 1.4 lens, for example, you would have some sort of distortion in your photos. You wouldn't like that as a photographer. But 35 millimeter 1.4, really nice. And then another thing to really like about the 1.4 aperture is the bokeh. Obviously is one factor, but another factor is low light performance. You can actually take this thing almost anywhere and you'll be okay with pictures. You won't have like graining pictures because you have to bump up the ISO. So 1.4 aperture, 35 millimeters, really nice thing here. But that basically covers everything about this lens. Now focus is pretty good. It takes time sometimes with complex photos or compositions, so keep that in mind. It's a Sigma lens on a Sony, so it does sacrifice some speed. It's not going to be as great as your Sony lenses, but it is pretty nice when it comes to focusing. But most likely I've been able to nail focus with this guy. There might be some, you know, conditions where it just doesn't work out. Remember that you know, like the focus settings on your camera also matter, and then the eye focus thing, it's all there. You got to use it, and then you got to use the best settings to get the best image or best results out of your whole thing. But yeah, picture wise, the quality is amazing. There's no vignetting on the sides. Like almost every single setting, 1.4 or 1.8, 2.8, whatever you want to shoot with, usually very, very sharp images. That's the best part about this lens, is that it's always sharp. You know, it just gives me really nice colors, and everything else is fine. I did make videos on Sony 55 millimeter and Sigma 24-70 2.8 that just released this year. Both of those lenses are pretty good. I made reviews on them already, so do check them out in my previous videos. If you guys haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. I'll have pictures that go around in this video as like the background throughout, so do check those out and let me know what you guys think. And yeah, so this will be it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, as I said before, please make sure to comment them down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.